All right, let's jump right in. You've probably been there, right? You're trying your absolute best to show someone you love them, you're being totally sincere, but it just doesn't seem to land. The message just isn't getting through. Well, in this explainer, we're going to decode the actual language of love to figure out why that happens and, way more importantly, what we can do about it. You know, this is the exact question a man once asked author Gary Chapman while they were on a plane. This guy had been married 3 times, and every single time, the love just vanished. It's such a powerful question, and it probably hits home for a lot of us. Why is it that a relationship can start with so much passion and then, somewhere down the line, just feel empty? And here it is, the core idea that might just change how you see everything. The problem, most of the time, isn't that we're not sincere. I mean, that man on the plane, he was telling his wife he loved her, that she was beautiful. He meant every single word. But here's the kicker. Sincerity just isn't enough if you're not speaking a language your partner can actually understand. So what we're really talking about here is a communication breakdown. We tend to think relationship problems come from a lack of love, but honestly, it's so much more common that it's just a failure to communicate that love in a way that truly connects.
Okay, think about it like this. This analogy really nails it. Imagine you only speak English and your partner only speaks Chinese. You could yell, "I love you," with all the passion in the world, but to them, it's just noise. It's meaningless. And that is exactly what happens with our emotional love languages. We keep expressing love in our own native tongue, and then we're totally baffled when our partner says they don't feel loved.
To really help you picture this, let's talk about a key concept from the source material. It's called the love tank, and it's a super simple but really powerful way to think about our emotional needs in a relationship. Think of it just like the gas tank in your car. When a person's emotional love tank is full, they feel safe, secure, and the whole relationship just runs smoothly. But when that tank is empty, oh boy, they might get quiet or critical or just act out, all because they're desperately searching for the love they're missing. So keeping that tank full, that's the absolute key. So the big question is, how do we fill it? Well, the source material breaks it down into 5 specific emotional love languages. To give you the toolkit you need, we're going to walk through each one of these: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, and acts of service. All right, first up, words of affirmation. For people who speak this language, let me tell you, words are everything. Like the old proverb says, they literally have the power of life and death. You know, Mark Twain once said, "I can live for 2 months on a good compliment." And that just perfectly captures what this language is all about. It's about using genuine compliments and words of appreciation to show you care. You'd be amazed what a few simple, straightforward words can do. And this language has a few different dialects, you could say. You've got your basic compliments, direct praise. Then there are encouraging words, which are all about inspiring courage and believing in your partner's potential. You've also got kind words, which has more to do with your tone of voice. And finally, humble words, which means making requests, not demands. That small shift affirms your partner's value in a huge way. Okay, language number 2 is quality time. And this one is a really big deal because it's not just about being in the same zip code. It's about being 100% present. Quality time means the phone goes down, the TV goes off, you look at each other, and you actually truly connect. When you give someone just 20 minutes of your pure, undivided attention, you are literally giving them 20 minutes of your life. And that is an incredibly powerful way to communicate love. So, what happens when these languages get their wires crossed? Let's take a look at the story of Bill and Betty Jo. It perfectly shows what this kind of communication breakdown looks like in real life. And right here, you can just see the disconnect. Bill's main language was words of affirmation, so when he started giving Betty Jo all these compliments, his love tank started to fill up. He thought things were getting way better, but Betty Jo, her primary language was quality time. So yeah, the kind words were nice, but her emotional tank was still bone dry because the one thing she really wanted, his focused attention, was missing. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about language number 3, receiving gifts. For some people, tangible symbols of affection are what speak the loudest. Now, hang on. Before you think this is all about materialism, it's not. The price tag on the gift is almost always irrelevant. A gift is something you can physically hold in your hand and say, "Look, they were thinking about me."
It's a visual symbol that says, I love you, whether it's a diamond ring or a flower they picked from the yard. This was the reality for a woman named Janice. Her marriage felt completely empty because she wasn't getting these little tangible symbols of love from her husband, Jim. And it got so bad she felt used, unappreciated, and she was just about ready to walk away. But then, Jem learned her language. And just look at what he did. It wasn't about big, expensive gestures. It was all about small, consistent things that showed he was thinking of her every single day. Monday, a rose. Tuesday, he brought home a pizza. By the end of that week, Janice said she was in orbit. Jim had finally figured out how to speak her language. And this leads us perfectly into our fourth language, acts of service. And this is actually the final, crucial piece of Jim and Janice's story. For people whose language is acts of service, that old saying is 100% true. Actions speak louder than words. This is love that's shown by doing things, cooking a meal, taking out the garbage, painting a bedroom. These things take time, thought, and real effort, and when you do them with a positive spirit, they are incredibly powerful expressions of love. And here is the big twist in their story. When the author asked Jim if he felt loved by Janice, he said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And why? Because Janice was an amazing cook and an incredible housekeeper. She was constantly performing acts of service. She was speaking his primary love language perfectly. The entire time, her own love tank was completely empty. So let's just do a super quick recap. Each language sends a very different but very clear message. Words of affirmation says, I appreciate you. Quality time says, you have my full attention. Receiving gifts says, I was thinking of you. Acts of service says, let me do this for you. And physical touch says, I'm right here with you. So here's what this all boils down to. Love isn't just some magical feeling. It's a choice. It is the conscious choice to step outside of what comes naturally to you and put in the effort to learn the language that your partner truly understands. And that choice, that's the real secret to keeping love alive. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Understanding all of this is great, but putting it into practice is where the magic happens. So take a second and really think about it. Which of these languages truly fills up your love tank? And maybe even more important, which one fills your partner's? Finding that answer could absolutely change everything.